learning English with Enjoy. Letters to Guy. This is the first letter I am writing to you, my son. We left Mauritius 2 weeks ago to go to Australia. Mauritius was warm and sunny, but after we left, the weather became cold. It felt very cold to us. At first, the fresh air felt good, but soon we had to wear warm clothes and walk quickly on the deck. Sometimes we stayed inside the big, warm ship. The ship was very big, very clean, and very comfortable. There were a few people on board, not too many. We had space, and we made some friends. Louis and our maid, Catherine, were very sick at first, but they got better quickly. Louis loved the ship. He wanted to help the sailors. The sailors were kind to him. They laughed when they saw how much Louis loved the sea. Louis helped every time the sailors checked the speed of the ship. He also learned to say the numbers in French. He liked to tell me how fast we were going. We had a little dog called Monsieur Puppy. He was born in Mauritius, so he only understood French. He didn't like the cold. He ran around when he could, but he did not understand why. The sun was not warm. The sailors loved him and gave him biscuits. Every day the sky and sea looked more gray. The ship moved slowly through the big waves. We didn't have storms, but the sea was rough. It rained a lot. Still, we felt fine on the big, warm ship. We had nice cabins with space to sleep and rest. The officers said the trip would be a good and fast one. After 2 weeks, we saw the land of Australia. We watched the long beach and the low hills. The coast of Australia looked very different from the high peaks of Mauritius. We wanted to stop in Western Australia, near our new home. But the ship went to another place called Glenelg, near Adelaide in South Australia. We had to come back later to reach our home. It was evening, and the sky was dark, but the moon was bright. We got ready to leave the ship. The captain helped me down with kind words. Louis said goodbye to his sailor friends in French. We took a small boat to the shore. The sea was calm, but the air was very cold. It was around 10 o'clock at night. We missed our warm cabin. Catherine and I put Louis between us to keep him warm. Your father's servant, Rosidor, was very cold. Monsieur Puppy sat by his feet and shook. The cold made the puppy sick. The next day, he almost died. A kind dog doctor in Adelaide saved him. I felt bad because I did not help him more. But I was busy keeping Louis warm, and I thought Rosidor would help the dog. We landed on a long pier. Our bags were put on a small tram. We had to walk a long way. The walk helped us feel warm. The night was clear and bright like day. We felt lucky. If the weather was bad, it would be very hard. At the train station, we waited a long time. Louis was very sleepy. We got into a big, warm train sent by the governor of Adelaide. The train moved through streets with shops. Louis asked, "Do boys get hit by the train?" I said, "No. The kids in Adelaide are smart. They are safe." But his question stayed in my mind. We reached Adelaide very late, but a warm carriage came quickly. A big, bright house waited for us. Friendly people welcomed us. Fires were burning. Food was ready. But we were too tired to eat. We went to bed and slept deeply. The next morning, we opened the windows. Sunlight came in. We saw trees, houses, and hills. After 2 weeks of sea, it was wonderful. We went out after breakfast to walk and explore. We said, Guy would love this. But we told Luis, now is your time to study and grow strong. One day, we visited schools with the Minister of Education. Louis loved the drill yard. Boys were practicing like soldiers. They used small guns and followed commands. They looked strong and happy. They looked proud. They also wrote well and read well. The young children sang songs. They clapped and smiled. Some even acted out milking cows. At one school, the children sang beautiful songs. The teachers were smart. I thought, if I were a student here, I would feel behind. The schools were full of life. We also went shopping. The shops were full of nice things. Louis bought a knife. Catherine bought bandages right after. I saw beautiful books and wanted to buy more. Father bought me a lovely bracelet. He was very naughty. Adelaide was big and beautiful. It looked like an old city, like it was 100 years old. But it was still very new. The air was cold, but clear. The sun felt warm. One afternoon, we drove to Marble Hill. This was the summer home for the governor. The road was steep but lovely. We saw valleys and hills. Trees still had some autumn leaves. We saw cottage roofs between the trees. The house had a wide view. There were many paths to walk and ride. Inside, it was warm and nice. We had a happy tea time. Then we returned down the hill. The sun went down, and we used warm blankets. We stayed in Adelaide for 4 days. Then we packed again. It was the Queen's birthday, but it rained hard. We waited in the cold rain for another ship. We got wet. They didn't help much because they were used to sunny weather. Still, I thought, better rain than hot sun and dust. We got on the big ship called Carthage. We had to cross the Great Australian Bight. This sea area is rough like the Bay of Biscay. It is big and hard to cross. At first, the weather was terrible. I sat in a deck chair tied with ropes, but the ship moved suddenly. The chairs tipped. We all fell forward with our chairs on our backs. Everyone laughed. No one was hurt. We were all wrapped in blankets. I went to my cabin. Louis and Catherine were there, feeling sick. They didn't laugh. I joined them in bed. I stayed there, reading and sleeping, until the sea became calm again. Letter 2nd, Albany, 28th May. Yesterday was Sunday. It was sunny and clear, but it was cold. We had church service inside the big saloon of the ship. Many people came. The room was full. Almost everyone felt better now and was not seasick anymore. Even Catherine and Louis came up. They are always the last ones to come up on deck. This morning, on Monday, something very special happened. Our big ship, called the Carthage, stopped in a beautiful bay. The bay has 2 names. The old name is King George's Sound. The new name is Albany. It was the most beautiful morning we had ever seen. It was quiet. It was sunny. The air was cool, but not too cold. It was fresh and nice. It was not hot, but it was not cold. It was just perfect. The sky was blue. The sea was blue. We all sat in a small boat. The boat moved fast over the water. We were very happy. We all said, "It's so lovely," or "It's so beautiful," again and again. We could not say anything else. The bay was big like a lake. There were small green islands in the water. The land around the bay was high and strong. It looked like big hills. Everything looked peaceful and grand. It was the most beautiful harbor we had ever seen. As we came closer to the land, we saw many flags. We saw red coats and green flower arches. People came to say welcome. They came to welcome your father. Everyone looked happy. I felt very happy too. This new place looked so nice. The people were kind and friendly. All the flags and decorations were not only for your father, they were also to show love for our queen. These people lived far away from England, but they still loved the queen. They were proud to welcome someone sent by her. I want you to remember that. When people were kind to us, they were also showing love to the queen. Later that day, Louis told me something funny. He said he wanted to be a governor one day. But then he changed his mind. He said there were too many people and too many lessons. He meant the speeches. He said he liked quiet places better, where he could look around or go fishing. We all got into a carriage and went to the hotel. People waved from their balconies. One woman even waved her baby at me. She held the baby in a shawl and waved it. Louis laughed a lot. After 4 days on the sea, we wanted to walk. We walked and looked around Albany. Everywhere we looked, we saw beautiful views. Albany was a very beautiful place. It had a big, natural harbor. It was one of the best harbors I had ever seen. 31st May. Now we are getting ready to leave again. We are going to Fremantle, which is near Perth. But before I go, I will tell you what we did in the last 2 days. All our bags are packed. Everything is on the ship. I stayed behind with my small travel bag. The captain sent a message. He said, "No hurry. That means the wind is very strong. The sea is rough. It is better to stay on land for now." Monday was a beautiful day, but then the wind changed during the night. Since then, it has been raining and very cold. But we need rain. This is winter. We need rain from May to November. After November, it does not rain much, so no one complains. The rain made the flags wet. It broke the decorations. But we still went to lunches, banquets, and even to a ball. A ball is a big party where people dance. It was raining a lot that night. Many people came walking. We had a small carriage, but it was not strong. The driver put a brown cover on it, but it did not help much. We got very wet. When we came back to the inn, I looked at my cap. I had worn a pretty evening cap with flowers, but now it was ruined. It looked like an old rag with paint on it. I laughed a lot. In the morning, Catherine came in. I showed her the cap. She looked shocked, but later, Father and Louis laughed too. Yesterday, some Aboriginal people came to see your father. One old man said he was their king. He wore the rim of an old straw hat like a crown. It looked funny. Most of them looked poor, but they wore warm blankets. They got flour, tea, and tobacco from the government. They should not get money because they would spend it on rum. So your father gave them extra flour and more tobacco. There was 1 hour without rain. Then we heard people laughing and shouting "Governor" from outside. I went to the balcony. The natives sat on the grass. They wanted to show something to your father. I called him to come. Louis watched everything with big eyes. He already had a native spear. Our dog, Monsieur Puppy, barked and ran around the circle. First, they showed a kangaroo hunt. One man acted like a real kangaroo. He hopped, scratched himself, and looked around. Another man was the hunter. He moved slowly behind the trees. He carried a spear. A dog followed him. The kangaroo drank water, ate grass, and rolled on the ground. Then the hunter threw his spear. It hit the kangaroo. The dog caught him. The hunter finished the job with another spear. It was very real. It looked just like a real hunt. Then 2 men showed an emu hunt. The emu lived on flat, sandy land. The man used a blanket to make the bird's body. He made his arm look like the bird's long neck. It was so clever. The hunter hid behind a small bush. The emu moved and looked for food. Every time the emu looked away, the hunter got closer. Finally, the hunter threw a kylie, a boomerang. It hit the emu's head. Then the hunter used a club to finish it. At noon, the captain said the sea was better. We could go. We are going to Perth, which is 350 miles away. On the way, we will pass small towns called Vasse and Bunbury. These towns are waiting for your father. They put up flags and made food ready. They kept sending messages to ask, "When will the governor arrive? I am going by ship, but Catherine, Louis, and Monsieur Puppy will go by land. They will ride in a covered carriage. The trip will take 5 days. The road goes through big forests. The roads are bad because of the rain. But if the sun comes out, they will have a good trip." Letter 3, Perth, 3rd June. We arrived in Perth last night. We were tired. We were cold and tired, but we slept well. We had a good sleep. This morning was sunny and beautiful. We felt much better today. On Thursday morning, we left Albany. We got on the ship easily, but the sea was very rough. It was very bad. The waves were big. The wind was strong. The rain was heavy. The sea was wild. The little ship tried hard to move forward. It moved slowly, but it did not stop. The waves got bigger. The wind got stronger. The rain kept falling. The ship went toward Cape Leeuwin. This cape is also called the Cape of the Lioness. It was very rough near the cape. I stayed on the deck. I had many rugs and warm things. The kind captain put a big waterproof cover over me. But I was still wet. I was still cold. Then a big wave came. It came on the deck and almost pushed me into the sea. So I went down to my small room. The ship moved a lot. It went up and down like a little boat. My room was dry, but the ship jumped like a cork on the water. We all felt sick. We could not sit still. We could not lie still. We had to hold something all the time. It was very hard. My hat kept falling and rolling. It never stayed in one place. It rolled everywhere. It went to the bar. It went into the hallway. It fell out of my room. The stewardess tried to help me. She came in and tried to hang the hat, but it always moved. Even your father stepped on it once. But the hat kept moving. In the second night, the ship stopped. We had reached a small harbor. A group of men came on board. They wanted to see your father. They came in the dark. They came in the rain. They were very brave. My room was next to the saloon, so I could hear everything. One man said, "Here is a bonnet." I laughed. Then I heard weak voices. The governor and his secretary tried to speak nicely, but they sounded very sick. I looked out and saw them. They wore dressing gowns and looked very pale. I was glad I did not have to meet people that night. Then someone asked, "Do you like Western Australia?" And your father answered, "Yes, very much. It is delightful." His voice was weak and sick, but the man said, "That's right." I laughed again. I was happy that Louis and Catherine were not on that ship. It was too rough for them. On Saturday at midday, the sea became calm. The wind stopped. The sun came out. It was a beautiful afternoon. The ship reached Fremantle, a town near Perth. We saw more flags, more arches, and many people waiting. Everyone looked kind and happy. People said, "Welcome." I was very tired and weak, but the flowers they gave me made me smile. Then we walked through happy crowds. People smiled and waved. We came to a place with red carpet, flags, and flowers. There were speeches. There was a drink of champagne. People said kind words. Then we got on a train. It was ready for us. It had flowers and green branches. The train took us to Perth in less than 1 hour. The Perth railway station looked very pretty. There were red flowers and green trees. Many people came. Many children came too. One small boy gave me a big bouquet. He was very cute. I kissed him. He looked like all of you when you were small. His name was Harold. He was even cuter. Now I had 2 big bouquets. My hands were full of flowers. Then we went quickly to Government House. Your father had to change into his uniform. He had to go to Town Hall to be sworn in. We drank a cup of tea, then left again. The streets were decorated. There were flags everywhere. We reached the town hall at 5 o'clock. There was a big crowd outside and inside. The mayor was waiting. He wore his special robe. We went inside. People helped us find our places. The room moved like the ship. I still felt dizzy. There were speeches and a big salute from cannons outside. I was glad I was not in the carriage with the horses. The sound was very loud. It felt good to return home. We had a warm fire and a good dinner. Government House is big and beautiful. It is our new home. As we sat down to eat, we got a telegram. It was from Louis and Catherine. They were in a town called Kojonup. They would sleep there. They said the weather was nice. They were safe. I was very happy. I was glad they were safe. I was glad the weather was good for them. Letter 4. Government House, Perth, 18th of June. It has been 2 weeks since I wrote my last letter. I was very busy. I was really very, very busy. Our big boxes arrived safely. We started unpacking. We unpacked everything. We moved the furniture. We hung the pictures. We changed the rooms around many times. This is what people always do in a new house. We also explored the garden. We walked around and looked at the views. The garden has many pretty places. The house is very nice. From outside, the house looks big. But inside, it is just the right size for us. The rooms are beautiful. They have a good shape and size. The rooms are also arranged very well. There are wide verandas around the house. Here in Perth, people call them cloisters. The verandas give shade. They give privacy. They are nice places to walk, especially when it rains. The garden is lovely. It has terraces that go down to the water. The water is part of the Swan River. The Swan River looks like a big lake. It is very wide here. On the other side, there are trees and a ruined old mill. On calm days, the water looks like glass. The trees and sky reflect in the water. But sometimes the wind makes big white waves on the river. My favorite place is the paddock. It is green with grass called couch grass, which stays green in summer. There are stables and chicken houses in the paddock. There is room for cows. There is room for pigs. There is room for chickens. I like it very much. It is winter now, so there are not many flowers, but the geraniums are blooming. They grow very well in this sandy soil. The violets, especially the kind called Blue Tsar, are blooming too. The grass is green. In the garden, we have many kinds of trees. We have oak trees, oleander trees, gum trees, olive trees, banana trees, and willow trees. We also have fig trees, peach trees, apricot trees, apple trees, pear trees, and almond trees. I think Lewis will have a very fun summer with all the fruit. We don't have raspberry, gooseberry, or currant bushes, but we have a lot of strawberries. They grow in big beds near the water. There are also long rows of grapevines. The vines are not green now because it is winter, but they are everywhere. We have many kinds of grapes. Some vines grow on walls. Some grow on long wooden frames called arcades. From my window, I can see bamboo, pampas grass, and New Zealand flax. Everything looks beautiful. We are very happy with our new home. There are also nice places to walk in Perth, but I am still very tired in the afternoons. I just drink tea and rest when it gets dark. The first room I arranged was Louis's room. His room is next to mine. I made it look warm and cozy. 3 days after I last wrote, Louis and Catherine arrived. It was a sunny morning. The weather was still nice. They arrived before the rain came. That night, it rained very hard. The wind was strong. I felt so happy that Louis was warm in bed in the next room. Louis and Catherine said they had a lot of fun on their trip. They went slowly through the forest. They traveled 35 to 40 miles each day. They stopped for lunch under big trees. They cooked potatoes or boiled tea on a small fire. Louis loved the bush. He now says he is a real bushman. He always asks me to come camp out with him. A police officer drove the carriage. He took good care of them. Louis said he saw kangaroos running across the road. He saw white cockatoos flying in the sky. He even found a rat in a log. He turned over the log to check for snakes, but found a possum rat instead. They always started their trip after breakfast. They stopped before dark. Only one night they arrived late. That road was full of big, wet holes. The horses had to walk slowly. Louis said that part was the most fun of all. He told many stories. You will like the story about Monsieur Puppy, the dog. This dog is very funny. He is good at catching rats. One day, they stopped near a farmer's house. They were eating lunch. A big mother pig came. She had many tiny black baby pigs with her. The puppy saw them. He thought they were rats. He ran and grabbed one baby pig by the neck. The baby pig screamed. The mother pig grunted. The other pigs ran away, but Monsieur Puppy did not stop. He shook the pig hard. Even when the mother ran at him, he did not let go. He only dropped the pig and grabbed it again. Louis and Catherine laughed a lot. They laughed so hard they could not stop the dog. Then an old woman came with a broom. The dog finally let go, but he looked very proud. He thought he had caught a special kind of rat. Now the weather is cold. It rains a lot every day, but I am still very busy. I don't have time to think about the weather. And rain is good. People here say, "This is a splendid season. We have so many things to do. We need to buy everything. We need horses. We need cows. We need chickens. We need ducks." People are very kind. They help us with everything. Every day, Louis and I say, "I wish Guy were here." But I try not to think too much about that. One day, you will be with us too. That will be a happy time. Louis read the book, Swiss Family Robinson on the Ship. He loved it. He wants to live like them. He cut bamboo to build huts. He made fires in the garden. He did so many things. After 3 days, I sent him to school. The high school in Perth is very good. The headmaster is very nice. Louis walks to school every morning at 9 o'clock. In the afternoon, it usually rains. I send him an umbrella. I send him a coat. But he likes to get wet. He wants to be grown up. He comes home wet and happy. One day he came home on a pony. He had no hat. He held the saddle tight. He rode fast. He had never ridden before. He used a thorn as a spur. The pony ran fast. He could not stop it. But he was not scared. He wants to ride again. We have gone to many dinners, balls, and parties. They were fun, but I don't think you would enjoy hearing about them. We also went to Fremantle and Guildford and visited schools and orphanages. Later, I will tell you about football and cricket when summer comes. Letter 5, Geraldton, 3rd October, 1883. If you look at your small map, you can see where we are. We are in Geraldton, also called Champion Bay. It is far in the north. And when we go north, the weather gets warmer. The spring weather has been very nice for many days. Perth looked very beautiful when we left. The trees had green leaves and flowers. The grass was green. My garden was full of flowers and vegetables. I could see fruit growing everywhere. We started our trip from Fremantle. It was a bright afternoon. That was more than a week ago. Our trip by sea was quick and good. We stayed close to the land most of the time. After about 21 hours, we arrived in Geraldton. When we came, it was exactly noon. People in Geraldton were getting ready to welcome us. They had flags, they had arches, they had decorations everywhere. Some people were still finishing a big arch made of bush flowers. It looked like a room without a roof. It was very beautiful. It smelled nice, too. While your father stood there reading speeches and giving answers, I looked at all the flowers around me. There were school children standing in a row. They sang "God Save the Queen" in a sweet voice. Many little girls gave me flowers. My hands were full of beautiful nosegays. Nobody was sick on the ship, but I felt weak. I had not eaten during the trip. I looked pale and tired. We were happy to stay in a clean, warm, and comfortable hotel. There we had a bath and a big meal. We felt better quickly. After that, we went on a long drive near the sea. Your father stopped to look at many things. He likes to inspect everything. But when we visit a new place, I want to see some things, and he wants to see different things. So our plans are not always the same. We passed a beautiful garden. An old man stood at the gate and invited us inside. I was very happy and jumped out of the carriage. But your father said, "You stay here. I want to go see the lighthouse." Then he and the carriage drove away. Later, they came back. By then, I had so many flowers from the kind man, I felt shy. After that day, we were very busy. We visited schools, hospitals, churches, and many other places. In the evening, we went to dinners, parties, and banquets. People in Geraldton were very kind. They gave us a warm welcome every day. One day, we took a train to Northampton, about 35 miles away. It was a sunny day. It felt like summer. The weather was warmer here because we were farther north. We are upside down here, so everything is different. At one train stop, workers gave me a big bouquet made of pink and white wildflowers. These flowers grow on the low hills around. The bouquet was large and beautiful. The men smiled. They saw I was very happy to receive it. Before we reached Northampton, the train passed near a sheep station. All the workers from that station had come to the road. They shouted, "3 cheers for the squatter governor." Then they threw flowers into the train. They liked your father because he once had a sheep station in New Zealand, so they thought he understood sheep. At the Northampton station, many people were waiting. The station looked like it was made of flowers. There were more speeches. Then we drove to a pretty place nearby for lunch. After lunch, we visited the lead mines, about 6 or 8 miles away. Your father looked at everything. I sat on a bag of lead and drank tea. The mines have very good lead, but now the price of lead is low. So the mine is not doing well. That is sad, because people spent a lot of money, and good workers came from England. The next day, your father went to plant the first pole of a new telegraph line. This line will go far, far away, all the way to Roebourne, in northwest Australia. We stood under a shelter made of bush flowers. There were many speeches. people said good things about the new telegraph. I asked for a small piece of the telegraph wire. They made it into a small bracelet for me, right there. One day you will see it. I will always wear it. I looked at the poles, the wire, and the men. These men were strong and brave. They had beards and sunburnt faces. They would carry the telegraph line across wild land. They would sleep on the ground. They would work with no houses, no beds, and no safety. They could face danger from drought, hunger, and even from natives. But still, they were ready. I thought, these men are like soldiers, brave soldiers, who fight to build a new land. I hope, dear, you understand how brave they are. You will be a soldier one day too, and you can be proud of men like them. After this, we had just enough time to go visit that sheep station. We had lunch there. Your father loved it. It reminded him of the old days. Then we took the train back to Geraldton. We returned in the evening. The air was soft and warm. We were tired and sunburned, but it was a good day. Now I am writing this letter early in the morning. I am sitting on the veranda of the hotel. I can see people packing bags and boxes in the street below. We are getting ready for a long overland journey. Our big boxes will come later by steamer. We can only take a few small things. The sand is hard for the horses. We must not carry too much. Some people wanted to leave out my small package, but Catherine stood in the street and said, "No, that must go. It is my lady's." So in the end, everything was packed, including the heavy box of soda water. I hear people working outside. They are changing the welcome signs to farewell signs. People are writing good wishes for us. Last night, there was a big ball. It was very beautiful. If you were a girl, I would tell you more. The big room was full of flowers. It looked like a garden. There were many pretty girls in pretty dresses. It was very bright and happy. But I think the best part for you would be the guard of honor. They were strong men in uniform. They welcomed the governor. They looked brave and smart. Now I hear little feet running on the veranda. Some sweet little girls are coming. Each one carries a bouquet almost bigger than herself. I will take the bush flower bouquet from last night with me. It is still fresh and beautiful. One of the carriages will be full of flowers. Now it is time for breakfast, and after that, we will say goodbye to many people. It is a perfect morning. The air is fresh and light. The sun is shining. The ground is still wet from the heavy dew. This dew helps the plants live through the dry summer. Please watch part 2 of this exciting story in the next episode. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you.